Hi there. So you just got a new rotary polisher and you're going to start polishing today, right? But before you do that, give me a minute as today I want to share with you 7 tips and information that you should know about your new rotary polisher, right? So stay tuned and find out. Okay, tip number 1, how to set up your polisher and how to install the handle, right? So all polisher will come with the Allen key, a set of screws and the D handle, right? This is called a D handle, right? So if you're a left-hander, you want to hold this with your right hand, right? This is how a left-hander would hold the polisher. Now, if you're a right-hander, this goes this way. Right? It goes something like this, right? So your right hand goes here and your left hand comes here. Right, so I'm a right-hander and I will do it this way. So just align the hole to the head. All right, put the washer in first and the screw in. All right, just lightly screw it a bit. All right, just when it goes in a little bit, not too tight, right? Then to flip to this side. All right, same thing. Align the hole with the handle, put the washer first, and the screw. All right, so this part will go through this little hole here to reach to the screw. Right, so this one goes in. Right, so right, so just screw it in until it's tight. Alright, now go back to this side. Now to tighten this side, use the shorter stick to give it a good tight, a good turn. Alright, so, right, yeah, you can't do it here, so it has to be this. Right, so this is good. Right, this is how you want to set up your rotary polisher if you're a right-hander. Alright, D handle, this is how you want to grip it. Okay, if you have a side handle rotary polisher, it's pretty easy. Alright, just pick this up and just install it. Alright, same thing. If you're a right-hander, this one comes here, and if you're a left-hander, right, this handle comes here. Alright, so side handle, easy. Okay, tip number 2, how to install the backing plate. Right, so you got to make sure first that that your unit is an M14 and your backing plate has to be M14. Right, if you have a 5/8x11, then it's got to be a 5x11. Right, so this is a male thread and a female thread, means for information. Okay, and then you just put it on and you rotate clockwise. All right, so rotate until the spindle moves along, right? Something like this. Okay, right. This is actually good. I mean, some people would like to push this button and to lock it and then go all the way in. But personally, I think as long as the spindle starts turning, that's good enough. Tip number 3. This button here is called a spindle lock, right? It's supposed to lock the spindle so that you can actually install the backing plate fully. All right, but you don't really need to use it unless you want to. So if you do, all right, right, so it stops the spindle from moving. All right, and the most important thing I want to tell you here is make sure that this thing pops back up. Okay, if this thing is down permanently and it doesn't come back up, your unit is faulty and you have to change it, right? So make sure this thing comes back up. And if this thing is down and the machine goes on, all right, the gear is gonna blow. So yeah, make sure this thing comes back up. Tip number 4, how to install the pad onto your backing plate, right? Of course, you can just lay the machine flat on the floor and try to get the center, but you can't really see what you're doing. So pick it up. Okay, if you were to hold the handle at the back and try to do it, it's going to be very heavy. All right, if you hold it here, it's going to be like not flat. So what I do, I would hold at the torso, right, this part. So hold it here and suddenly the machine feels very light. So with the other hand, try to get the center point. All right, try to like balance up the left and the right at the top, right, before you push it in, right? So if it's center, push it in. To check, turn on the machine and spin, right? If it's wobbly, it's not good. You want to keep it straight. So I will show it in another clip. Okay, this is how an off-centered pad looks like. Yeah, you got to do it again. Okay, this is how a pad that is better centered looks like. Although from the video it looks like it's a little bit wobbly, but it has, I would say it's only 99% possible to make it centered. Yeah, so this is good. Tip number 5, how to utilize a variable trigger, the trigger lock and the speed control. Alright, so just let me explain what a variable trigger is. So this is speed setting 3. A variable trigger would mean that if I push it half, it's going to go at half the pace. Alright, if I push it like 75%, it's going to go more. If I push it fully, it's going to go at the speed I want. Alright, one more time. Half, 75%, and full. Okay, so how do I use this? So I would spread my polisher. Let's just say I decided that my working speed should be 3. So but when I spread my polish, I want to use this to spread. Alright, then once I'm done spreading, I want to go full blast to correcting. I'll just trigger it and go all the way. Alright, now, so from here, how do I use, what's the point of the trigger lock, right? So when I'm at my working speed, I use the trigger lock so that I do not have to focus gripping the handle, right? I have more play time with to move around my hands. Alright, so when I'm done, release the trigger. Alright? Okay, alternatively, I can start at speed 1, alright, and spread my polish. Okay, then using the trigger lock, when I'm done, I just move it to speed 3 and start correcting. Okay, tip number 6. After some time, your rotary will look like this. I mean, after some time, when you use your rotary and it's time to change the carbon brush, okay, just for information, the rotary runs on carbon brushes, right? It will look something like this. Okay, and okay, to change the carbon brush, use a flathead screwdriver, all right, to rotate anti-clockwise to remove this part here. Okay, your carbon brush is inside here. Okay, so if it's like this, it's pretty much time to remove, but don't worry, if you do not remove it, it will just cut off by its own. There will be no power, and then just check if it's like very, very little. All right, it's time to change, because a new one will look something like this. Okay, so this is pretty much used. All right, so to put a new one back, yep, just slide it in. Okay, the cover. All right, it's a spring, so just push it in. Turn it with your fingers a bit and screw it back. Okay, it's important not to use too small of a screwdriver, right? This is a test pen, so if too small, it might make a dent here. So if you have the dent there, later on it might crack. So use a wider one. I mean, one that is almost completely covering the groove, and turn it out. All right. So yeah. Okay. Tip number 7. When you're done with the polishing and you want to store your rotary for your next use, there are a few there are a few good practices that I would encourage you to do it. Okay. To rip the foam. Number 1, always grip the Velcro part here, all right, and rip, right? Try to avoid gripping the foam part and remove it from the backing plate, all right? This is to prevent delamination, but of course, it's just safe practice. Foam is not that delicate, but better safe than sorry. So, Velcro, all right, push your finger in and rip it out, right? So this is the foam. Okay, number 2, to remove the backing plate, use the spindle lock, press it, and rotate anti-clockwise. Okay, always remove the backing plate after you use it. Why do we do that? Sometimes we do not remove the backing plate at all, and we keep on polishing. This thing will go in and in and in, and one day, if you want to change the backing plate, it's going to be very, very difficult to come out. So always remove the backing plate when you're not using the rotary. Right? So one more, number 3. When you want to roll your wires, do not roll it that you create a very high tension here. All right, you don't want this tension on your wires. So if you have to roll your wires, create the tension somewhere here. All right, so just hold it here. So this is loose, okay, something like this. So this is loose. Then you just, it's a bit difficult to do it on camera, but yeah, I just try to roll it like this. Right, something like this, so that there is no tension here, and then your rotary is good to be kept. Okay, there's another tip I forgot to mention in my list earlier. When you're polishing halfway and you want to grab a microfiber or anything to buff the residue, and you want to put the machine on the floor, right? Always keep it at this position. Okay. Do not put it like this, right? Do not let the foam hit the floor. It will create a, you'll make the foam like, it will flatten the foam a bit. So, keep it at least like this. But personally, I like to keep my machine like this. It's a personal habit. My D handle is a bit to the back. All right, so when I keep it like this, so if I were to polish up, I would just, it's easier for me to take other than, I don't have to bend so much. All right, so it's just a personal preference that I like to keep my rotary like that. Okay, so these are some of the tips that I wanted to share with you when you get a rotary polisher. All right, make sure you get a heads up of what you're going to do, and hope that this video helps. Right, so if you like to see more of this video, remember to subscribe to our channel. And if you like this video, please give us a like and share it with your friends. Right, I'll see you next time.